Welcome in, Cowboys Nation, to Game Day Live halftime show. Jesse Holley, Skywalker Steel, Cowboys, Packers tied 14-14 in a very eventful, exciting, whatever you want to call it, first half. A lot went down. Dallas finishes the half with a touchdown to tie the ball game up. Packers will get it coming out. But, boy, a lot to kind of dive into here in this first half, Jesse.
Yeah, you know, the thing when you look at this game right now, tied 14-14 at halftime, it's trending and leaning towards a situation where you might find yourself in a shootout with Aaron Rodgers. And I think that's the one place you do not want to be, right? You don't want to have this thing come down to the last possession and Aaron Rodgers have the ball with 54 seconds left to go in the game, down by 3 or 4 points or something like that. So for the Cowboys, you know, they've had some miscues, they've had some turnovers, one red zone situation where they're going in to score.
Let's talk about these turnovers, because there seems to be a discrepancy between the fan base on these turnovers, and we were talking about it, and I'm learning, about routes and whatnot. And to me, from the very first take of both interceptions, let's be quite honest here, it looked like, damn, what a bad throw. And then they show it again, and I'm like, well, why is the tight end and the wide receiver so close? Why is the wide receiver not flattening out? Why is the wide receiver not looking? Former wide receiver, what is supposed to happen in those routes? And you could go to both of them.
Well, let's start with the one in the red zone. First things first, when you get into the red zone situation, understand that now that field is compacted. You don't have the option of having the back of the end zone extended so that things can happen. So things have to happen in the red zone area quickly and much more precisely, because you now have 11 defenders in a small, compact space. So when you look at that first one where you had the bunch set with the tight end and CeeDee Lamb, the tight end is supposed to take that deeper route to make that safety have to cover the back of the end zone, and then underneath that you have CeeDee Lamb comes underneath, and it kind of almost like put it right on him, right at that goal line position. But Dalton Schultz took his route a little bit shallow, which allowed that safety to basically play two guys in one area. And when you're able to do that, Dak, anticipating that safety was going to be back, threw the ball in front to CeeDee Lamb, and he was just sitting right there, read the eyes of the quarterback, jumped in front of it, intercepted it. And then on the second play, you're looking at, this is why it's so important when you're playing that slot position to know and understand, what is my coverage? Is the middle of the field open? Is the middle of the field closed? Because that at times can change the depth and the overall route that you're supposed to be running. In that one, it looked like the middle of the field was closed. CeeDee Lamb is coming up, and he probably thought in his head that, oh, no, this is not going to throw to me. And instead of coming up, being sharp, and crossing the defender's face, finding that soft spot in between, in front of the safety and right behind that opening spot from the linebackers. He lollygagged through that route, and Dak thought he was going to do one thing. He zigged. He's supposed to zag, and Dak threw it, and it was an interception because that safety was sitting right there. So, it's going to go on Dak's
as an
on him
yeah.
as an interception. But when you look at those two things, that's miscommunication between two receivers in the red zone, and then on the other one, a receiver not properly running a route, misdiagnosing what the coverage is and what the quarterback was going to do, and ultimately is going to say, well, Dak, the ball is in your hand. You have to make sure that you're knowing where the ball is supposed to go. But you want Dak to be a guy who anticipates throws. That's one of those throws where he is anticipating it, that a guy's going to cross that safety's face, and he didn't, and it led to 2 turnovers, which in return led to 2 touchdowns for the Green Bay Packers.
And the Cowboys got a great turnover. I mean, this is how funny football is, man. You have a chance to go up 14-0, at the very least 10-0, and now we're sitting at 14-14 after you got the fumble recovery forced by D-Law, recovered by J-Ron Kearse in the red zone, and that's where that first interception happened. But, I mean, this seems to be a reoccurring theme with CeeDee Lamb and I don't want to see Dak Prescott, but CeeDee Lamb and Dak, where it's like, oh, he's not going to throw it, so I'm kind of a little bit lollygagging at the tail end of my route, where I think everybody should be running a route as if they're going to get the ball.
You should.
And this is now, I want to say 3 games in a row we've seen that happen. And now this game has cost you twice. You can't have interceptions in the red zone against this quarterback. I tweeted, you can't have miscommunications. You can't have interceptions because that man on the other side of the field, 6 freaking attempts. Yeah. 6. But a touchdown is the reason why this score is tied 14-14. And the discrepancy, not only amongst the fan base, but in passing attempts and rushing attempts is crazy to me. I did not see this one coming. 25 pass attempts for the Cowboys. Granted, you need to throw at the end of the game there, but even before that, you weren't running enough to me, and you weren't running the way you were running before. Are you noticing that as well?
Yeah, we talked about it in the pregame show. If you're going to run, don't run the ball. Don't have empty calories. Be able to run Tony Pollard in ways and fashion that is conducive of him having success. Trying to run the ball on certain formations, trying to run the ball where, short side of the field sweeps and up in the A-gap. You got to find better ways. Get him on the edges. Zone reads, get some of the RPOs and find different ways that you can run the ball with. He's using his quick and his elusiveness instead of just having empty runs for Tony Pollard. And then you don't want to get in a shootout with this guy. Dak Prescott is on pace to throw 50 attempts in this football game.
On the road,
in 30 degrees against one of the worst run defenses in all of football. That to me it goes back to that thing we talked about with Kellen Moore is, can Kellen Moore consistently stay on pace of calling good football games? And he'll have 2 in a row, 3 in a row sometimes, and then he'll have that game where you're like, dude, how are you glitching against the 27th ranked run defense in the National Football League? Run the football, run it in a way of being creative. Eat up some of this clock. Don't keep giving the ball back to Aaron Rodgers, and now you found yourself in a 14-14 tie where Green Bay gets the ball now at the end of the half.
And it's not like Tony Pollard has 11 carries for 20 yards. 11 for 52, that's a solid day. And that's given the fact that you're not even running with him creatively.
Right.
I want to say out of the 11 carries, I could be wrong here, but it seems like maybe 8 or 7 of them are out of shotgun. And they're just basic draw plays or basic shotgun, run up the A-gap, and there's nothing to it. Listen, Tony Pollard can do other things for you on the edge. Get him out there on the edge. And I feel like this game plan, this run scheme, whatever you want to call it, this looks to me like it was decided between Monday and Saturday, not just on Sunday. Meaning this doesn't look like something that this does look like something that they game planned for.
Right.
Because you saw against you saw against the Bears how they were going to come out and attack that team. You saw it in their pre-snap, post-snap motion and post-snap action. You're seeing no pre-snap motion. You're seeing no post-snap creative. You're seeing none of the things that have been working for you from an offensive standpoint in regards to running the ball. It's been very basic. And listen, I know there's those 2 interceptions, and I get that Dak is actually he's playing pretty dang on well after the first 2 drives. He was 0 for 4 since he's 16 for 21. But I don't want to get into a situation where you're throwing the ball 50 times against one of the worst run defenses. Because you know what can happen? Miscommunication. Yeah. All it takes is 1 or 2 miscommunications, a tip ball, a sack fumble. The things I was asking the other team to do, right? Oh, my gosh, Aaron Rodgers, throw it 50 times.
Right,
please.
Right.
Please. We're doing that. And while, yes, 113 yards to 2 touchdowns, you also get the 2 interceptions. So, and one of the things I was saying to you, I'm a little worried about, well, will he have confidence going back to CeeDee Lamb in the middle of the field? What happened on that drive for a touchdown? They ain't sent CeeDee's ass across that middle of the field. They kept him on the boundary, and they went to CeeDee Lamb on quicker things, let him get some yak and whatnot.
Yeah, and that's the thing is when you have these miscues, quarterbacks hate throwing interceptions. Like literally hate throwing interceptions. And so when you have 2 in a game, now when they call those routes in the middle again or those combination routes, you freeze. You're skeptical. You may where we want it to be anticipation. Now you kind of wait till the receiver comes open and deliver it, and that in return can be bad for you because you're like, oh, I should have let it go a tick earlier. Now you got defenders in the way that can kind of tip the ball, intercept it, whatever it may be. So we can't say in one breath that we want Dak to throw dudes open and dudes not run the right routes because now if he reverts back to the old I'm gonna wait to the open, now other guys are reacting to that and you get more people into the picture and that can also cause interception. So you don't want to start out this way because the quarterback then in the back of his mind is like, man, interception number 3 won't look good on my ledger, so I might not throw that. I might hold it and I might wait a little bit too late.
Yeah, and at this point, man, you can't. I don't think he can afford to have that hesitation because at this rate, it's looking like it may come down to one of the quarterbacks having to go down and get the game-winning drive. is looking that way. We had an injury scare with Michael Gallup. He had limped off the field, was hobbling or whatnot, looked like a knee situation, but he came back in there, made a clutch catch at the end of that drive, which I said on my Twitter, that's a big boy drive. Mm-hmm. That was a big boy drive. There was, you just came off the heels of an interception where, again, communication, trust, whatever you want to call it. Now you can't run the ball. You're going to have to throw the ball because you got to go down there and score.
Right.
The Packers are about to get the ball. You had momentum. You got Aaron Jones doing the
Marshawn
Lynch.
Home.
Yeah. You got him doing the Marshawn Lynch. So you needed to go down there and get points. And, man, was that a really good, efficient drive to go down there and score. And Gallup helped you do that. Interesting, CeeDee Lamb has 7 receptions, 56 yards, and a touchdown. But I do think the two mistakes are more glaring than it sounds crazy. 7:56 in the first half is supposed to be a good game.
Right.
But you can't have those type of mistakes. Defensively, that run. I'm definitely going to lose the over-under on Aaron Rodgers. They understood the assignment.
Right.
Aaron Rodgers has 6 attempts. The Green Bay Packers have 18 rush attempts. 7 for A.J. Dillon, 11 for Aaron Jones.
Yep.
For 93 yards and a touchdown. They are going to continue to do it. Because you know why? The Cowboys aren't giving them reason to stop whether it be the offense getting ahead or literally stopping them. It's not happening right now. So I can see the Packers coming back out, plus Aaron Rodgers' thumb. Mm-hmm. We saw that's a bit of an issue, but he did throw a dime for 58 yards and whatever. But I think they're going to come out and continue to run the ball. Jesse and the Cowboys got to figure out a way to get these boys behind the chains and put the ball back into Aaron Rodgers' hands.
That's the biggest thing, stopping the run. We knew coming into the game that they were going to attack the run and be physical up front. The Cowboys have to just hunker down and figure out a way. You move Micah Parsons back to linebacker to give him a chance to kind of stop the run. That's not working. So I don't know what you got to do. Commit more guys to the line of scrimmage. I mean, and make Aaron Rodgers throw, I guess, right? That sounds even more crazy, right? Make Aaron Rodgers throw the football because right now, running the football, that 5.2 yards of carry for 93 yards at half, that's a recipe, again, for disaster.
I think you do, though. I think you do have to – I mean, how many times do the Cowboys really put 8 in the box and make guys throw the ball? I don't know. I haven't really noticed that throughout the season. But this is a game I think you want to because, look, Watson had a fantastic catch, over Anthony Brown, who's out, by the way, who got burnt again. Yeah. This is 3 times in 2 games he's got beat on deep passes. I keep calling for Deron Bland out there, or hell, at this point, Kelvin Joseph technically is going to be out there. Right. So we're going to see. I think we're going to see. Anthony Brown is out with the concussion. But, it has to come, and this may be a conversation we have throughout the week. There's going to come time and point where you say, okay, thank you for your contributions. 7 years here in Dallas. We got to see what we got in this Bland kid and this Kelvin Joseph kid out here because we can't let this happen to us when it matters later on down the season. And if they blow it, then we'll put you back in. But you had your shot. It's not working. You aren't carrying over the same momentum as multiple shots as last year. So let's see what we got. I'll keep my eye on Kelvin Joseph, though, in the second half because if they do make them throw the ball, I'm pretty sure he's going to be going to him, Jesse.
Yeah, I agree.
Final thoughts here in the second half as we get ready for kickoff.
14-14 is still anybody's game. The Cowboys have to come out, control the line of scrimmage, eat up some clock, and just no more turnovers. I don't think you can afford any more turnovers in this game with Aaron Rodgers on the prowl, and he can get hot at any moment.
He absolutely can. All right, Cowboys Nation, that would do it for the halftime show. Join us back here in the post-game show, hopefully a victory one. We'll see y'all in a few. Peace.